Hey folks, welcome. Here, we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his wife admitted to having an affair. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. My wife says she loves another man and wants to move out of the family. 2 boys aged 8 and 4, home into an apartment. She had been seeing a lot of other parents at the primary school and was constantly mentioning him. Call him Bob. So when she mentioned him one time, I said, "Wow, you talk a lot about Bob. Sounds like you're in love with him." To which she responded, "Well, actually, I am." She admits to effing Bob a few times but claims she's not anymore. I was naturally devastated, and after a lot of crying, me, and discussion, she now wants us to live apart and have the kids week on, week off. Things between us have been difficult for a while. She constantly adds accusations to the general narrative that I'm inadequate. I don't spend enough time with the kids or do enough around the house, and I'm not communicative enough towards her. I'm also too controlling of the money we have and spend too much time online. I look after all the finances. She admits she doesn't know how to pay a bill. She does have expensive taste though, and mostly she buys what she wants. I work as a full-time programmer, and she has not worked much paid work at all since our older son was born. She's a glamorous woman. 6 feet tall, Chilean, and very attractive. She's also very dramatic and driven. Everything she does, she's a bit obsessive about. She's passionate about what she does, but jumps from thing to thing quite a lot. She's recently thrown herself into the primary school community. Perhaps that's why I didn't suspect she was effing Bob. I love her dearly, and she's an affectionate and caring mother to our kids. I don't agree with everything she does, and she's far from perfect. She objectively drinks too much, and I hear that she and Bob smoke weed. I don't drink or smoke. She doesn't always set a good example for our kids. For example, she's very casual about getting our son to school on time. I think this is wrong because it's important to instill the importance of punctuality in our kids as a life lesson and habit, and not disadvantage them. I tend not to stand up to her on these sort of things, but although she has me believing all her criticisms of me, there are plenty of things I could criticize her for but don't. It's been almost 2 weeks now, and I've given her bond and first month's rent to get an apartment for herself. She has found a job, but not that well paid. She says that she wants us to continue to be partners and perhaps attend some things for the kids together. She says we could date again, and who knows what might happen. But at the same time, she seems quite cold to me and embarrassed by my grief and emotion. I'm still devastated and can barely think straight, let alone concentrate at work. A friend of mine says that she's left me no option but to hold her to her decision and sever contact for at least 6 months apart from kid handover. That I should focus my love and attention on the kids when I have them and move on from her. He also says that even if I do want to get back with her, I have to do that anyway, to work on and find myself again. And he says that I should get the thought of being back with her out of my head and assume it will never happen. Because once I do that and regain my confidence, I'll be swimming in women. I love her dearly and want her back, but I don't know what to do to achieve that. I would do anything for her in the marriage, but I fear it's too late, and that through my passivity and neglect, I've let the relationship die. Help? Edit after a night's sleep. Firstly, thank you for all the advice. I thought my mate was being harsh, but I now see he's told me shit I have to hear and act on. I see a lawyer tomorrow. Kids are foremost, of course, and I'm more and more thinking that I should fight to be the primary custodian with her only seeing them each or every other weekend. For now though, once she gets a new place, we have agreed to week on, week off. I do regret giving her money for a new apartment, but mainly that I gave her too much, $4K. She's looking in the hip inner city when she deserves to be in a much more basic and grimy place further out for less rent. Having joint accounts drained. Not gonna happen because there are no joint accounts. For most of the last 8 years, I've been the financial provider. I had a monthly debit to her account of $2K, which I just canceled. She's also asked me for cash at times, presumably because she had spent the $2K already, and I would usually give that to her. No longer. This setup made me financially controlling. I also would pay the mortgage, all the bills, and for her car expenses. The $2,000 was just for food shopping and her spending. Did we marry when she was too young? Yes, probably. It's easy to say that with hindsight. I don't think she was too young at the time, but now that I think about it, it was convenient for her because she was having difficulties living at home. We were only together 6 months before getting married. To be fair, this has only deteriorated over the last 12 months or so. Edit. She had no respect for my role in the relationship as the provider and enabler of her lifestyle. On the contrary, she created a whole story around my inadequacy but never acknowledged my input. Now she'll realize that life is not as free and easy as she thought for most. Well, until she finds someone else to fund and support her. Because she's still pretty attractive, I think she probably will find someone else. Not Bob because he's broke, borderline alcoholic ex-hipster guitarist type, to fund her and keep her from learning life lessons. Had I been more aware, I would not have treated her poorly. Rather, I just would have communicated more and been more conscious of her needing to respect and value my input. It's all very well to say that men need to treat their female partners as equals and with respect. But in this case, you really need to convey the same to her. I really feel like I've been a doormat and she's not had the slightest regard for equality or care and concern for me. Is that not gross inequality perpetrated by her? Considering the circumstances, it might be crucial for her to face the consequences of her decisions. Not in a vengeful manner, but through the realistic outcomes of her moving out and starting a new relationship. Acknowledging that the marriage is ending, it's important for both you and her to recognize this reality. Seeking immediate legal advice is advisable. Consulting with a specialized lawyer can help you understand your options and prepare for what lies ahead. This isn't about seeking retaliation, but rather ensuring you have a clear understanding of your situation. Comments. Listen to your friend. You need time to yourself to rebuild your self-worth and confidence, and rediscover your own personal identity. I would not want to save this marriage, but if you do, a few steps you can take are: 1. Expose the affair to family and friends. 2. If the other guy's married, tell his wife ASAP. 3. Work on yourself. Sounds cliche, but hit the gym, take part in group activities. 4. Limit contact with her to neutral topics such as the kids. 5. Stop giving her money to live on her own. 6. Stop being a doormat. She doesn't respect you. 7. Stop letting her call the shots. 8. Find your self-respect. If you do divorce, please fight for full custody. People here bitch that cheaters can be good parents, but get really can't. Cheaters are narcissists who care only about themselves. Your wife abandoned her 2 sons and moved out to be part of someone else's family, even if she isn't living with them. She's not quality individual. Story 2. To say the least, we've had a troubled, painful relationship. To keep things short, my wife had a 2-month-long affair with another man in 2014. We attended marriage counseling for almost 2 years, and since that point we've been doing really well. I think most people would consider infidelity a deal breaker, but I'm not perfect, people make mistakes. And I wasn't willing to throw away the life we had built together over a temporary setback. As far as I know, she's been completely faithful since. Until yesterday, I just assumed that her affair was a one-off thing and not a pattern of behavior. Until I discovered a treasure trove of chat logs and pictures on an old laptop I was looking to reformat and repurpose. Again, to keep it brief, for at least the first 3 years of our relationship, which started in 2009, she had carried on emotional relationships with at least 3 other guys. Most of it included sexual flirting, sharing of fantasies, and a lot of webcamming involving taking her clothes off and dancing for these guys. Several of them had commented on outfits they particularly enjoyed, etc. From what I can tell, she only met one of these guys in person, despite repeatedly attempting to meet with all of them. And while the logs show that they only kissed, I'm 90% sure they had sex. The chat log trail dries up around 2011 since the world stopped using AIM, Yahoo Chat, and MSN Messenger, so I don't have any direct evidence. But I have no reason now to doubt that the behavior continued well into 2014 before everything blew up with her affair. On one hand, this all seems like it's in the past, and dredging it up will only be a painful, futile exercise since it can't be undone, and it was at least 4 or 5 years ago. On the other, I think I have a right to be upset about this. Had I known about this affair, would I have stuck around after her affair? Honestly, I feel regret for not leaving her. Not to mention that during the whole time the webcamming stuff was going on, I would constantly ask her to do the same thing with me. Occasionally she would send sexy photos, but now I'm pretty sure they were intended for other guys. And it was just convenient to send them to me. We had a major dead bedroom situation during this period, and it's now clear that she was seeking sexual gratification outside our relationship. Again, had I known all of this, the course of my life could have been very different. Do I bring it up? What good would it do? Taken in a vacuum, the past 4 years have actually been really good. We have similar life goals, interests, financial success. Is it worth throwing all of that away because of something that happened so long ago? The entire relationship seems to be falling apart. I would suggest considering leaving, not just because it sounds like there's no happiness left, but also because seeking evidence to confront her might indicate underlying dissatisfaction on your part. Or at least that's my assumption. I won't presume. It appears that this relationship has been on the decline for years, and it probably should have ended earlier. My advice is not to prolong the inevitable and start seeking better opportunities elsewhere. Comments. Leave now. Don't look back. Leave. She's cheated on you, one time confirmed and suspected multiple other times. Emotional relationships with others is still a form of cheating. So is seeking sexual gratification outside a relationship. She's been cheating on you more than she hasn't been. Dude, you're still really young. You're in the prime of life. Well set to meet another partner if you choose. Even if you don't end up leaving, I don't see how you can possibly ignore evidence of more infidelity. No matter when it happened, I'm really sorry.